Hello and welcome to another episode of Midwest Nature. I'm your host, Jack Carr, and this week we're here in DeKalb, Illinois to see what its wildlife has for us. So sit back and get ready to enjoy another episode of Midwest Nature. Welcome to the show. Today's featured Midwestern town is DeKalb, Illinois. DeKalb is mainly a rural community in the northern part of Illinois, about 65 miles west of Chicago. And although it is famous for its delicious corn and being the home of Northern Illinois University, it is also the home to many interesting Midwestern wildlife. Today's program will be focused on squirrels, geese, and ducks, including the tragic tale of the legendary William the Goose. We'll start things off now with a look at our fuzzy little friend, the squirrel. A squirrel is a rodent or gnawing animal. Squirrels live in North America and Europe. They are usually graceful, quick, and active. Squirrels have rather slender bodies and may have long, bushy tails. Squirrels are well known for their playfulness and friskiness. Squirrels store nuts and other foods for the long, cold winter months when food is scarce. Squirrels eat nuts and plant life such as these. Now, let's take a look at ducks and geese. A duck is a web-footed bird that usually lives near the water. Ducks are a very familiar sight to those who spend time in DeKalb. Ducks can be seen by either the East or West Lagoon, as well as along the mighty Kishwaukee River, which flows through DeKalb. Oddly enough, ducks are also a common sight in many areas around campus. For instance, at night, they often congregate by Cole Hall. There are both domestic ducks and wild ducks. More than 40 different kinds of ducks live on the North American continent. Ducks have large heads and slender necks. Their necks are shorter than those of geese, who are related to ducks. But we'll talk about geese a little later. Ducks usually have broad, flat bills with tiny saw teeth around the edges. Their bills are useful in holding and straining food. The bodies of the ducks are short and thick. They are covered with thick feathers. A layer of thick down lies beneath the feathers and close to the body. The feathers of many ducks are beautifully colored. All ducks keep their feathers well oiled by means of a large gland just above the tail. This gland gives off an oil which makes the duck's feathers waterproof. A duck will sink in the water if the oil is removed from its feathers. It's hard for ducks to walk because their legs are short and far back. Ducks move very clumsily. But the webbed feet of the ducks make them swift swimmers. Some ducks are excellent divers. Their wings are strong, and wild ducks can fly fast and far. The male duck is sometimes known as a drake, and the young duck, a duckling. The female has no special name. Ducks eat insects, snails, frogs, and fish. They also feed on grains and grasses and other kinds of plant life. The female duck likes to build her nest near water, but with so many houses and roads around, she has a hard time finding a place. Sometimes she has to use the branches of a tree or a hole in its trunk. When she finds the right place, she begins to build her nest with twigs and reeds. She lines it with the soft down feathers of her underfeathers. Then she lays anywhere from 6 to 16 eggs. The female duck sits on or broods her eggs for a month. She keeps them warm so that the ducklings inside the eggs will grow. Let us look at the process of a duckling as it begins to grow inside the egg. On the second day, an almost invisible group of cells called an embryo will grow into a duckling in about 4 weeks. The embryo swims in the yellow yolk, its source of food and nourishment. On the 4th day, we already see the head of the duckling and the body, which has not yet grown any limbs. A tiny speck beats inside the body. This is the heart. It is connected to a system of blood vessels through which the embryo breathes and digests food from the yolk. On the 6th day, the embryo has grown and the blood vessels have developed too. The small black dot is the eye's retina. Limbs are also beginning to form. On the 10th day, we see that the embryo has grown even bigger. The ear is seen as a little patch directly behind the eye. Birds do not have ears like ours. Their eardrums open directly onto the surface of the head. When we jump up to the 14th day, we can now see clearly the duckling's body and its long beak. Feathers have also appeared. On the 20th day, the duckling fills most of the space inside the egg. The yolk is much smaller now because the nourishment it contained has been fed into the duckling through the blood vessels. You'll also notice at the tip of the duckling's beak is a chalky, hard, diamond-shaped growth which the duckling will use to break out of its shell. The shell is thinner now because part of it has been used to make the duckling's bones. On the 26th day, the duckling is still connected to the yolk by a cord of blood vessels, but it is ready to hatch out of its egg. So much has happened inside the egg. As the duckling begins to move around, it hammers at the eggshell with the hard growth at the tip of its beak. A hole is made, the duckling moves and stretches, and the shell begins to crack. Suddenly, the egg splits in two, and the duckling is out of the egg. His feathers are wet, and his eyes blink in the bright light. It has been so dark inside the egg. The little duckling is weak and tired, but the fresh air is good to breathe, and the warm sunshine quickly dries his feathers. Ducks often live together in large flocks. Some of them travel north in the spring and south in the fall. However, many of them are shot by hunters during the southward flight because many ducks are highly prized as game birds. Ducks and geese can travel and change their homes more easily than most other animals. Many of them travel long distances when the seasons change. They often fly to warm climates when cold weather arrives and return when it's warm again. These journeys the ducks make are called migrations. Some ducks fly by day, others by night. Some travel alone, others in flocks. Many ducks hurry directly south, but some fly slowly and take roundabout routes. There are 4 main flyaway routes in North America that ducks use as skyways. The Pacific Flyway extends from Alaska down the Pacific coast into Mexico. The cackling goose and some sea ducks travel this oceanside route. The Central Flyway follows the line of the Rocky Mountains. The pintail duck and the American widgeon help make the Central Flyway a well-traveled course. The Mississippi Flyway runs along the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River Valley to the Gulf of Mexico. Ducks, geese, and sparrows take this route. The Atlantic Flyway generally follows the Atlantic coast. Birds from New England and eastern Canada take this route to Florida, Cuba, and South America. Generally, ducks and geese migrate because snow and ice make it hard for them to find food. However, ducks who have been domesticated, like those living on either the East or West Lagoon, tend to stick it through the winters of DeKalb, depending on passers-by to throw them their daily meals. Oftentimes, many of the geese have no choice but to stay through DeKalb's icy cold winters, because they've been here for so long, they've lost their ability to fly. As far as domestic ducks go, except for the Muscovy duck, all are descended from the wild mallard. Nobody knows exactly when ducks were first tamed, but it must have been at least several thousand years ago. Now we turn our attention to the goose, which in DeKalb tend to be on the larger side. A goose is a web-footed bird closely related to the duck and swan. The goose is larger than a duck, but smaller than a swan. About 25 kinds of geese live in various parts of the world. 13 kinds of geese live in the United States and Canada. These geese range from 20 to 40 inches long and have wide wingspans. They are all migratory birds, flying north in summer and south in winter. Some of them fly as far north as the Arctic Circle, and some as far south as Mexico. The goose's neck is a little longer than that of a duck, and not so gracefully curved as a swan's. Geese are excellent swimmers. They can walk on land better than either swans or ducks because their legs are longer and closer to the middle of their bodies. Heavy layers of down underlie their dense plumage. Geese rub their feathers with an oil produced by a gland near their tails, just like ducks. Again, this oil waterproofs their bodies. But oil from oil slicks created by ships on inland water may soak their feathers so that the geese are not able to fly, and sometimes they starve. Geese have long lives and sometimes reach more than 30 years of age in captivity. Geese fly in groups, often in a great V-shaped formation. They fly rapidly, honking loudly, and have been known to fly as high as 29,000 feet above sea level. Domestic geese are the descendants of the gray-lag goose of Europe. They grow much larger than their wild ancestors, but have almost lost the ability to fly. They can only take short hops in the air. Domestic breeds include the Toulouse, covered gray, and the Ebden, which is white with an orange bill. The Canadian goose is the best-known goose of North America. It has a broad white band across its throat and cheeks. It ranges from Labrador and the Arctic Ocean to Mexico. Now we'd like to take a look at a unique story about an event that took place in DeKalb several years ago. That story is the tragic tale of William the Goose. In the late 1960s, a family received William as a gift, but they couldn't keep him in the house. So DeKalb's Northern Illinois University groundskeepers found a nest for him at the East Lagoon. There, William made many friends by swimming alongside canoes and visiting secretaries at nearby faculty buildings by pecking on their windows. Everything was going fine until 1976. That is when some faculty and students at NIU began to complain about the pollution that William was dropping around Loudon Hall, which is across the street from William's home. During that year's spring break, William was moved to the other side of campus, to the West Lagoon near the university's dormitories. William soon flew back home to the East Lagoon and was promptly deported to Tyrrell Park in neighboring Sycamore, Illinois. Many of Northern Illinois students were outraged by William's deportation and began a Save William Goose campaign.
Save William Goose! Save William Goose!
The campaign was successful, and William returned to the East Lagoon. Shortly after his return, William married Wilma Goose, who, unfortunately, was killed by a dog about a year and a half later. Poor William remained a widower up until the time of his mysterious death. On April 13, 1981, University police found William's body at the East Lagoon with fatal head injuries and a shoestring around his neck. Many on the NIU campus were stunned and frantic searches for the killer began. One student eventually confessed and claimed he was meditating when William startled him and he smashed William's head with a stick.
Go get him!
William was then buried at his East Lagoon home. A small memorial stone was placed over his grave. The students hoped that this stone will help remind people of William and what William stood for: friendliness. Well, I hope you enjoyed our visit to the town of DeKalb. Make sure to join us next week when we visit the small town of Tomahawk, Wisconsin, to take a look at northern pike and the mighty Muskalounge. Until next time, this is Jack Carr reminding you, if you're nice to nature, nature will be nice to you.